Over 40 years ago, a family walked into our living rooms and changed television forever. They were smart. They were funny. They were successful. And for a while, they were untouchable. But behind the laughter, behind the sweaters, behind that Brooklyn brownstone, the real stories would turn out to be far more complicated than anyone imagined. One cast member stepped away from Hollywood almost entirely. Another built a powerful career you may not have followed. One faced personal tragedy that shook fans to their core. And one name would later dominate headlines around the world, changing the legacy of the show forever. For 8 seasons, millions of us gathered every week to watch the Huxtable family grow up on The Cosby Show. It wasn't just television, it was a cultural moment. But what happened after the cameras stopped rolling? Where are they now? Who thrived? Who struggled? And who completely disappeared from the spotlight? Tonight, we're taking a look at the cast of The Cosby Show, then and now. If The Cosby Show was part of your childhood, if you remember sitting in front of the TV on Thursday nights, hit that like button so I know the real ones are still here. And tell me in the comments, who was your favorite Huxtable growing up? I read every single one. Now, let's start with the cast who surprised everyone the most. Number 1, Bill Cosby. Dr. Heathcliff Cliff. Huxtable. There are few television characters as beloved and as complicated as Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable. When Bill Cosby created and starred in The Cosby Show in 1984, he was already one of America's most celebrated entertainers. A stand-up comedy legend, a Grammy Award-winning recording artist, and a pioneering television presence, Cosby brought Cliff Huxtable to life with a warmth and comedic genius that felt utterly effortless. He was the loving, wise, and hilariously relatable father that audiences across the country connected with instantly. Cosby had already broken barriers before the show even began. In the 1960s, he became the first black actor to co-star in a dramatic network television series with I Spy. He was a man who had fought for representation long before it was part of mainstream conversation, and The Cosby Show was the culmination of that fight. A show he conceptualized, produced, and starred in to counter negative stereotypes of Black Americans in media. During the show's run, Cosby wielded enormous creative control. He insisted on storylines that reflected dignity, intelligence, and family values. He brought in renowned author Elvin as a psychological consultant to ensure the show never demeaned its black characters. The result was television history. Off-screen during those years, Cosby was considered America's dad, a title he seemed to wear with pride. But he was philanthropic, donating $20 million to Spelman College in 1988. He was involved in children's education advocacy and continued touring as a comedian. However, the decades following the show's end told a far darker story. Allegations of sexual misconduct against Cosby had existed in whispers for years. But in 2014, following comedian Hannibal Buress's pointed remarks during a stand-up set, the floodgates opened. Dozens of women came forward with accusations of drugging and sexual assault spanning several decades. The cultural reckoning was seismic. In 2018, Bill Cosby was convicted of aggravated indecent assault in Pennsylvania and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in state prison. He became the first celebrity to be convicted in what would later be called the #MeToo era. He served nearly 3 years before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his conviction in 2021 on procedural grounds related to a prior agreement with a prosecutor, and he was released. Today, Cosby remains a deeply polarizing figure. He has shown no public remorse and has occasionally given interviews and statements that have further divided public opinion. The legacy of The Cosby Show itself has been re-examined endlessly in light of these revelations. A show that meant so much to so many, now inseparable from the conduct of its creator. It is without question one of the most complicated stories in the history of American entertainment. Number 2, Phylicia Rashad. Clair Hanks Huxtable. If Bill Cosby was the comedic engine of The Cosby Show, Phylicia Rashad was its soul. As Clair Huxtable, brilliant attorney, devoted mother, and the unshakable moral compass of the Huxtable household, Rashad delivered one of the most nuanced and enduring performances in sitcom history. She was strong without being strident, loving without being passive, and funny without being a punchline. Clair Huxtable was, for an entire generation, the gold standard of television mothers. Rashad was born in Houston, Texas in 1948 and trained at Howard University, one of America's most prestigious historically black universities. She came to The Cosby Show having already built a respected theater career, and the role of Clair would catapult her into a different stratosphere entirely. Her chemistry with Cosby was immediate and magnetic. The show portrayed Cliff and Clair's marriage as genuinely romantic and deeply equal, a radical departure from many TV marriages of the era where wives were often relegated to supporting roles. Their banter, their respect for each other, and their shared dedication to their children felt real in a way that resonated profoundly with audiences. During the show's run, Rashad received Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress in a comedy series multiple times, though many fans and critics felt she deserved a win far sooner than recognition came. She became one of the most recognized faces in American television and a figure of immense dignity and grace. After The Cosby Show ended in 1992, Rashad returned to her theatrical roots with remarkable results. In 2004, she became the first black woman to win the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play for her stunning performance in a revival of A Raisin in the Sun. It was a watershed moment, not just for Rashad, but for Broadway representation as a whole. She continued acting in film and television with notable roles in Creed, 2015, and Creed 2, 2018, and she appeared in Empire on Fox. Her screen presence never dimmed. In 2021, Rashad was appointed Dean of the College of Fine Arts at Howard University, a deeply meaningful appointment at her alma mater. The position came with controversy when she initially expressed support for Bill Cosby following his release from prison, and there was significant public backlash. She subsequently clarified her position and expressed empathy for survivors of sexual assault. Today, at 76, Phylicia Rashad remains one of the most accomplished and respected actresses in American history. Her legacy as Clair Huxtable is permanent, a portrait of black womanhood that changed what television could be. Number 3. Sabrina Beauf, Sondra Huxtable Thibodeau. Sondra Huxtable was not originally part of the show's concept. When The Cosby Show was being developed, the Huxtable family had 4 children. But Bill Cosby felt it was important to show a child who had already successfully left the nest, a Princeton graduate who proved that the Huxtable parenting philosophy worked. So Sondra was added, and Sabrina Beauf was cast. Beauf was born in New Orleans and trained at the Yale School of Drama, a pedigree that showed in every scene. Sondra was the eldest Huxtable child, occasionally a source of gentle parody. Cliff's dramatic reactions to her tuition bills became a recurring gag, but ultimately a symbol of the family's success and values. She married Elvin Thibodeau, played by Geoffrey Owens, and the couple's evolving relationship, including Elvin's gradual growth away from his initial chauvinistic tendencies, made for some of the show's most thoughtful storytelling. After The Cosby Show, Beauf largely stepped away from the entertainment industry. She has given occasional interviews over the years and has spoken about her experience on the show with measured reflection. She pursued interests outside of Hollywood, living a more private life than many of her co-stars. Her story is one of intentional stepping back, a reminder that not every actor who exits a hit show is chasing the next spotlight. Some choose peace, family, and privacy, and there is real dignity in that choice. Number 4. Lisa Bonet. Denise Huxtable Kendall. Of all the Huxtable children, none captured the cultural imagination quite like Denise. Cool, free-spirited, artistic, and effortlessly stylish, Denise Huxtable was the teenager every kid wanted to be friends with and every parent quietly worried about. And Lisa Bonet, who played her from the age of 16, embodied that energy so completely that it was hard to know where Denise ended and Lisa began. Bonet was born in San Francisco in 1967 and had limited acting experience before landing the role. What she brought was something that can't be taught, a magnetic, slightly otherworldly presence that made her impossible to look away from. She became one of the biggest teen icons of the 1980s. Her face was on bedroom walls across America. But Bonet was never quite comfortable with the constraints of network television. Her artistic instincts pushed her toward darker, more challenging material. And in 1987, she starred in the film Angel Heart opposite Mickey Rourke, a dark, sexually charged thriller that was a world away from the Huxtable brownstone. The film caused significant tension with Bill Cosby and NBC, and Bonet's time on The Cosby Show became strained. She left the show to star in a spin-off, A Different World, which followed Denise's college years at the fictional Hillman College. After one season, she departed that show as well, and eventually returned to The Cosby Show in its later seasons. In her personal life, Bonet married rock musician Lenny Kravitz in 1987. Their daughter, Zoe Kravitz, now one of Hollywood's most sought-after stars, was born in 1988. Lisa and Lenny divorced in 1993. Years later, Bonet married actor Jason Momoa in 2017. The couple became one of Hollywood's most visually striking pairs. They announced their separation in January 2022, though they have remained close for the sake of their two children. Today, Lisa Bonet remains selectively active in Hollywood, choosing projects carefully. She is, in many ways, more of an icon than ever, ageless, magnetic, and entirely on her own terms. Her influence on fashion, beauty standards, and the definition of cool is immeasurable. Number 5. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Theodore Theo Huxtable. If Sondra was the proof of the Huxtable philosophy and Denise was the rebel, Theo was the heart, the only son, perpetually getting into scrapes, struggling in school, dreaming of shortcuts, and yet ultimately always finding his way back to the right path. Theo Huxtable was relatable in the most human way possible, and Malcolm-Jamal Warner made him genuinely lovable from his very first scene. Warner was just 14 when he was cast. Having been discovered at an open audition, he had almost no professional acting experience. What he had was natural charisma, a disarming smile, and the ability to hold his own in scenes with Bill Cosby, which, given Cosby's comedic dominance, was no small feat. One of The Cosby Show's most famous moments centers on Theo. In the pilot episode, Theo tells his father that he doesn't need good grades because regular people with average jobs are the backbone of the world, and the audience, expecting a laugh, burst into applause. Cliff's response, quietly and then emphatically disabusing Theo of that notion, became one of the most quoted moments in the show's history. The scene set the show's entire moral tone in under 3 minutes. Warner received 5 consecutive NAACP Image Award nominations during the show's run, a testament to the affection audiences felt for Theo and the consistency of his performance. After The Cosby Show, Warner continued acting in television with roles in Malcolm and Eddie, Read Between the Lines, and Sons of Anarchy, where he played a recurring character in later seasons. He also pursued music, forming a jazz fusion group and releasing music that showcased a different dimension of his artistry. Off-screen, Warner has been candid and thoughtful in interviews about the Bill Cosby situation. He has expressed grief for the survivors and navigated the public discussion with care and empathy, separating his complicated personal memories of a mentor from the reality of what was revealed. His emotional honesty on the subject has been widely respected. Today, Malcolm-Jamal Warner is in his early 50s and continues to work steadily in film and television. He is considered one of the most genuine and grounded alumni of the show, someone who grew up in public and emerged with his integrity fully intact. Number 6. Tempestt Bledsoe, Vanessa Huxtable. Middle children have a particular challenge on ensemble family shows. They risk getting lost between the older, more dramatic siblings and the younger, more adorable ones. Tempestt Bledsoe refused to be lost. As Vanessa Huxtable, the 4th child and 2nd youngest daughter, Bledsoe brought an infectious energy and a gift for physical comedy that made Vanessa one of the most consistently funny presences on the show. Bledsoe was born in Chicago in 1973 and was just 11 years old when she was cast. She grew up entirely in the public eye, and the character of Vanessa grew with her, from the precocious little sister to a teenager navigating the awkwardness of adolescence with charming, stumbling grace. Some of the show's funniest episodes revolved around Vanessa's misadventures, including a memorable episode where she is caught drinking at a party, one of the series' most earnest explorations of teen peer pressure. After The Cosby Show ended, Bledsoe stepped away from acting for a period and focused on her personal life. She returned to television in the early 2000s, appearing in various projects. She also pursued interests in real estate. In her personal life, Bledsoe has been in a long-term relationship with Daryl M. Bell, who played Ron Johnson in A Different World, the spin-off series that emerged from the Cosby Show universe. The couple have been together for decades, a quiet, enduring love story from the world of that era's black television royalty. Today, Tempestt Bledsoe remains connected to the legacy of The Cosby Show with clear-eyed perspective. She has spoken thoughtfully about her childhood on set and how she processes the complicated feelings that come with that history. She remains a warm and respected figure in the entertainment community. Number 7. Keshia Knight, Pulliam, Rudy Huxtable. If there was one Huxtable who captured the hearts of even the most stone-faced viewers, it was Rudy. The youngest child, endlessly curious, hilariously precocious, and deeply sweet. Rudy Huxtable was the show's secret weapon, and Keshia Knight Pulliam was nothing short of extraordinary. Pulliam was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1979 and began her acting career before she could even read a full script. She had appeared in commercials and on Sesame Street before being cast as Rudy at just 5 years old. What the producers found was a child with an almost supernatural ability to be present, to react, and to be funny in a completely unaffected way. She became one of the most famous child actors in television history. Some of The Cosby Show's most beloved scenes are built around Rudy's childlike wonder, whether she's performing a lip-sync number with Theo, asking innocent questions that expose adult hypocrisy, or just sitting at the kitchen table eating with a complete lack of self-consciousness that made her utterly magnetic. At just 6 years old, Pulliam became the youngest actress ever to be nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series, a record that stood for decades. After The Cosby Show, Pulliam navigated the difficult transition that most child actors face. She attended Spelman College, a full-circle connection to Bill Cosby's legendary $20 million donation, and graduated with a degree in sociology. The decision to prioritize her education over an immediate Hollywood career said everything about her character. She returned to acting in the 2000s and 2010s, appearing on House of Pain and taking on more mature roles that helped audiences see her beyond little Rudy Huxtable. She also appeared on Celebrity Apprentice in 2015, which brought a new wave of public attention. In her personal life, Pulliam was briefly married to former NFL player Ed Hartwell, and the marriage ended in divorce in 2016. She has a daughter from that relationship. She later married actor Brad James, and the couple welcomed a son. Today, Keshia Knight Pulliam is in her mid-40s, a reality that genuinely surprises people who still picture her as the pigtailed 5-year-old dancing in the Huxtable living room. She is a businesswoman, an actress, and a mother, and she carries herself with a grace and groundedness that reflects a life thoughtfully lived. Number 8. Geoffrey Owens, Elvin Thibodeau. Geoffrey Owens joined The Cosby Show as Elvin Thibodeau, Sondra's husband, and the character quickly became one of the show's most fascinating ongoing social experiments. Elvin arrived on the scene as a charming but casually chauvinistic young man, someone who held traditional views about gender roles that placed him on a direct collision course with Clair Huxtable. And the results were some of the show's most entertaining and quietly feminist television. Owens was a Yale-trained actor who brought real theatrical depth to a role that could have easily been a one-note foil. Over several seasons, Elvin genuinely evolved, challenged not just by Claire's withering observations, but by his own growth as a husband and father. After The Cosby Show, Owens continued working in theater and television with steady but not always headline-grabbing work. In 2018, he became the subject of a remarkable national conversation when a photo of him working at a Trader Joe's grocery store surfaced online and was framed mockingly. The response was unexpected. Instead of shame, there was an enormous outpouring of support. Actors, celebrities, and everyday people rallied around Owens, celebrating him as an example of dignity in honest work. Owens himself handled the moment with extraordinary poise, giving interviews in which he spoke about the realities of an acting career between roles, the importance of not letting ego prevent you from doing what needs to be done, and the value of all forms of work. He became, unexpectedly, a spokesperson for a cultural conversation about labor, pride, and the mythology of success. The attention led directly to new acting opportunities. He has since appeared on NCIS New Orleans, Greenleaf, and other projects. Geoffrey Owens' story is, but in its own quiet way, one of the most inspiring to come out of the Cosby Show orbit. Number 9. Joseph C. Phillips. Martin Kendall. Joseph C. Phillips joined the Cosby Show in its later seasons as Martin Kendall, a naval officer and the man who would capture Denise Huxtable's heart and test Cliff's patience. The character brought a different energy to the Huxtable world, more buttoned up, more formal, and navigating the particular comedy of being perpetually evaluated by his formidable in-laws. Phillips was a classically trained actor who used his time on The Cosby Show as a launchpad for a diverse career. After the show, he appeared in numerous television series, wrote a memoir, and became a political commentator whose perspectives often defied easy categorization. He has written and spoken openly about his evolving views on race, conservatism, and his time on one of television's most consequential shows. His willingness to engage publicly with complex ideas, including difficult conversations about Bill Cosby and what the show meant against the backdrop of what was later revealed, has made him one of the more intellectually engaged voices among the alumni. Number 10. Raven-Symoné. Olivia Kendall. She arrived as a 3-year-old with enormous eyes, an enormous personality, and an enormous future. Raven-Symoné, Christina Pierman, was cast as Olivia Kendall, Denise's stepdaughter, in the show's 6th season, and she immediately became a phenomenon. Her timing was instinctive, her expressiveness was theatrical, and her chemistry with Bill Cosby was electric. Born in Atlanta in 1985, Raven-Symoné had the kind of natural talent that makes casting directors put down their clipboards. Olivia was designed to fill the adorable youngest child gap left as Rudy grew older, and Raven accomplished that with room to spare. After The Cosby Show, Raven-Symoné's career trajectory was unlike any other child actor of her era. She signed with MCA Records at age 8 and released music. She starred in Hangin' with Mr. Cooper, and then, in 2003, she became a Disney Channel icon with That's So Raven, one of the network's most successful original series ever, following the comedic misadventures of a teenager with psychic visions. And the show ran for 4 seasons and made Raven one of the biggest names in children's entertainment. She has spoken candidly about her personal life over the years, coming out publicly, discussing her relationship with her body and with fame, and navigating the unique psychological landscape of having been famous literally her entire life. She returned to her roots with Raven's Home, a sequel series to That's So Raven, which premiered in 2017 and has continued for multiple seasons. Raven-Symoné served as a co-host on The View, bringing her trademark directness to daytime television, though her tenure there was not without controversy or criticism. Today, Raven-Symoné is in her late 30s, married, and still deeply embedded in the entertainment world. She has grown from a scene-stealing toddler to a producer, performer, and businesswoman. One of the most remarkable career arcs in the history of child stardom. What a journey it has been, through the Huxtable living room and far beyond. The Cosby Show gave us something rare, a television family that felt genuinely real, genuinely loving, and genuinely aspirational. For 8 seasons, it showed America a version of Black family life that was joyful, educated, complicated, funny, and deeply human. Its impact on television history, on representation, and on the careers it launched is undeniable. And yet the story of this cast is not a simple one. It is a story that holds joy and tragedy together. The warmth of what was created on screen alongside the pain of what was revealed off it. It asks us to sit with complexity, to honor the real experiences of real people without erasing either their achievements or their suffering. The actors who brought the Huxtables to life, From the Tony-winning brilliance of Phylicia Rashad to the business empire of Raven-Symoné, from the quiet dignity of Geoffrey Owens to the enduring iconhood of Lisa Bonet, have each written their own remarkable second chapters. They have faced the unique burden of being associated with a show whose legacy became permanently complicated, and they have done so with varying degrees of grace, honesty, and resilience. That is, perhaps, the most human story of all. If this video brought back some memories, hit like and let us know your favorite Huxtable moment down in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives into the shows and stars that shaped us. Thanks for spending this time with us. We'll see you in the next one.